Welcome to Islamic Affairs Channel. Today we delve into some profound shifts emerging from the crucible of Gaza. We're examining how the Western model, once seen perhaps as the pinnacle of progress, has been, well, utterly exposed and discredited in the eyes of the Muslim world, and how this is paving the way for a powerful reawakening rooted in our own Islamic civilization.
Indeed. What's unfolding isn't just a regional conflict. It's arguably a tectonic shift in global consciousness, particularly within the Ummah. The events in Gaza have acted as a forge, really, creating a new understanding and dismantling long-held illusions about the world order, the demise of the Western model in the eyes of the Ummah.
Okay, so let's start there. The first major theme is this perceived demise of the Western model. For generations, it was held up as the gold standard, wasn't it? The ultimate benchmark for advancement, the very fount of civilization even. An aspirational goal.
It was aggressively propagated. You had intellectual elites, educational institutions, media outlets, all pushing this narrative within Muslim lands. The message was pervasive. The West represented the zenith of human rights, freedom, justice, humanity, rationality.
And this became deeply embedded.
Deeply, it shaped aspirations, self-perception. It was like a constant drumbeat suggesting progress meant emulating the West, their systems, their values, even their way of life.
That sounds like a form of societal conditioning. This idea that Western civilization was inherently superior, its values universally applicable, accepted almost without question by many.
Yes, and this created a profound disconnect. You're told to embrace your heritage, yet aspire to a model that often seems to contradict your core values. It created a kind of cognitive dissonance, linking modernity exclusively with Western paradigms.
Okay, so then Gaza happens, and this acts as the catalyst.
Exactly. It brutally stripped away the facade. What was revealed was a stark, unvarnished reality. The so-called humanitarian West, lauded as a champion of the oppressed, was suddenly exposed as actively supporting genocide in Gaza. It was direct military aid, pervasive media complicity, twisting narratives, silencing dissent, and unwavering diplomatic backing, providing cover for atrocities. It was seen as a grotesque betrayal of every principle the West claimed to uphold. Shocking.
You mentioned rationality earlier. How did that perception crumble, the idea of the rational West?
Well, the question arose forcefully. How could a West priding itself on logic and reason openly justify the burning and killing of innocent children? This wasn't just a policy disagreement. It was seen as a profound moral failure, defying universal principles. The justifications offered seemed flimsy, transparent, highlighting the perceived depth of the hypocrisy.
So the image of rationality just dissolved.
It appeared to dissolve into a justification for barbarity, revealing what looked like a chilling disregard for human life when it didn't align with strategic interests.
And what about freedom? The free West.
That concept also took a massive hit. The West, positioning itself as this bastion of free expression, starkly contradicted itself. How? By violently suppressing pro-Gaza demonstrations globally. We saw images, reports of women, youth, even children being dragged through streets, brutalized simply for expressing solidarity.
So a selective freedom.
Precisely. Granted only to those who towed the line, ruthlessly crushed for dissenters. The irony was devastatingly clear to many observers.
And the humanitarian angle. You mentioned starvation.
Yes, the humanitarian West was seen shamefully rationalizing the collective starvation of an entire population, not as an accident, but as a deliberate policy, justified with cold logic, demonstrating it seemed complete subservience to the Zionist entity.
The moral compass just broke.
It seemed to spin wildly, pointing only towards self-interest and geopolitical alignment, abandoning any pretense of human decency. This catastrophic collapse of self-proclaimed Western values laid bare its abhorrent true face: colonialism, overt racism, flagrant double standards. Things hidden for too long.
This leads to the idea of crushing false narratives, like women's rights.
Exactly. That narrative crumbled completely. Thousands of women in Gaza were systematically killed, subjected to starvation, death by the occupation army. Not just collateral damage, but seemingly targeted. This wasn't abstract rights. It was real lives, real suffering, starkly contradicting the rhetoric.
The hypocrisy laid bare.
Utterly. Impossible for many to reconcile the words with the reality.
And children's rights. That seems even more jarring.
Irrevocably shattered. The deliberate starvation of Gaza's children, the murder of over 15,000 innocents. These weren't just numbers. They were lives extinguished, futures denied, international conventions, humanitarian appeals, the very idea of childhood innocence, all rendered meaningless.
So the West, through its complicity, is seen as having abandoned these children.
Effectively, yes, exposing a profound moral bankruptcy. Proving these rights were conditional, dependent on political expediency, not universal principles.
Okay, let's shift to the second major theme, the miracle of Gaza and this explosion of awareness. What does that entail?
Well, Gaza's steadfastness wasn't just military resistance, though that was significant. It embodied something deeper, a resistance of vision, an unparalleled challenge, unwavering steadfastness, unshakable faith, defying all logical predictions.
Standing defiant while others collapsed or were complicit?
Exactly. While nations buckled, armies folded, regimes played along, Gaza stood uniquely defiant. It fought, seemingly, against the tyranny of the entire world, exposing global hypocrisy for 2 continuous years, confronting this relentless war machine backed by Europe, America, all nations of disbelief. And it didn't break.
And this resilience sparked questions within the Ummah.
Urgent, frank questions, like, how could the poorest, most besieged place on earth humiliate the greatest powers? This wasn't seen as a minor setback for those powers, but a profound humiliation.
And how could a starving, blockaded people manage such resistance?
Right. How could they engineer such an unprecedented equation of resistance? It confounded military analysts, political strategists. It suggests a resilience born of something far deeper than material strength, a spiritual fortitude.
And the persistence of truth amidst destruction.
Yes, how could truth remain unyielding amidst colossal destruction, ongoing genocide, despite overwhelming firepower, propaganda, targeting? Their cause, their commitment to justice, remained unbroken. This is presented as a truly great miracle unfolding before our eyes, something unheard of for a long time, defying conventional logic.
So this miracle isn't just about survival, it's about redefining concepts.
Precisely. It transcended mere endurance. It fundamentally redefined core concepts: power, dignity, freedom, civilization itself, and crucially, established them anew not by Western criteria, which seemed hollow, but strictly according to the eternal standards of Islam.
Demonstrating that true power isn't just weaponry.
Exactly. It's in faith, resilience. True dignity isn't wealth, but standing for justice. True civilization is measured by its humanity, not its technology or economy. It's a complete reorientation, pulling the Ummah back to its authentic Islamic roots.
Which brings us to this paradigm shift in the Ummah's consciousness. The idea that for decades, the pursuit of progress involved imitating the West.
Yes, a misguided path, it's now argued. This imitation touched almost every aspect of Muslim societies. Look at politics. Attempts to emulate Western systems resulted almost exclusively in widespread tyranny, brutal dictatorships. It led to oppressive regimes serving foreign interests, not their own people. The promise turned into a nightmare.
And education suffered similarly.
Profoundly. Adopting Western models produced cultural westernization and a subservient mentality towards the disbelieving West. Children were taught to admire and serve a foreign model, often alienated from their own roots, viewing their own civilization as inferior. Intellectual independence was dismantled, replaced by curricula designed to produce followers, not leaders.
What about the economy? You mentioned riba earlier.
Yes, imitating Western economic systems led to devastating immersion in riba usury and overwhelming debts, crippling economies, causing massive inflation, profound societal issues. This deviation from Islamic principles of finance led to dependency exploitation, a system designed for perpetual indebtedness, not sustainable prosperity, dragging nations into instability and suffering.
Even arts and culture were affected.
Absolutely. Emulating Western arts, it's argued, plunged societies into moral dissolution, immorality, depravity, forbidden acts. What was framed as artistic freedom often devolved into celebrating things, contradicting Islam's moral framework, eroding community fabric. A cultural invasion, undermining values under the guise of progress, leading to moral decline and alienation.
Yet despite these failures resulting from imitation, some blamed Islam itself.
That's the breathtaking point. Certain secular factions, a fifth column, shamelessly blamed Islam for the Ummah's failures, ignoring the fact that governance, arts, entertainment, riba-based economies, even armies, were largely controlled by secular elites or served Western interests. Yet they pointed the finger at Islam, whose principles have been largely sidelined.
That seems fundamentally illogical.
It's described as unequivocally the most idiotic idea conceivable to the human mind. An unparalleled audacity, attributing the failures of secular leadership, failures born from adopting Western models, to Islam itself, a complete inversion of reality.
But now this charade is seen as exposed.
Unequivocally exposed. And we're witnessing an unprecedented transformation, a decisive shift away from the obsession with the Western model, a shift towards an earnest, profound search for the authentic Islamic model, This isn't superficial, it's deep-seated, especially among youth.
So younger generations are looking elsewhere, not seeing the West as the ideal anymore.
Exactly. Their disillusionment has prompted a different path. They're actively inquiring about the Quranic model for life, seeking its guidance in everything. Principles of Islamic economics, a just alternative, foundations of righteous governance, leadership with justice, compassion,
And education.
seeking the methodology of prophetic education, nurturing intellect and character, piety and wisdom. It's a vision for an ummah that doesn't just replicate others, but originates and flourishes from its own inherent essence, an indigenous, divinely inspired path.
You mentioned an ummah of mercy. What does that mean in this context?
The vision is for an ummah whose primary act of mercy is guiding humanity to Islam, liberating them from the darkness of ignorance, disbelief, corrupted fitra, that innate pure disposition. It's about bringing light, not through force, but through guidance and truth. A mercy extending to all humanity, offering spiritual and worldly well-being.
Okay, let's talk about this transition from fascination with the West to revival. Gaza seems central here.
Absolutely. One of Gaza's monumental achievements is awakening dormant hearts, shattering the hypnotic spell that sedated the Muslim mind. For too long, the Ummah was in a kind of slumber, mesmerized by external glitter. Gaza broke that spell through sheer resilience and suffering, forcing a confrontation with uncomfortable truths, a reevaluation of past assumptions.
So the focus shifts now.
Yeah.
From condemnation to construction.
Precisely. We're at the threshold of a new phase. Mere condemnation isn't enough. Lamenting isn't enough. The imperative now is the active construction of an alternative. The demand isn't just exposing the West's failures, but reintroducing and presenting the Islamic model in its entirety with renewed vigor, a call to build, not just critique.
And what are the characteristics of this resurgent Islamic model?
It inherently elevates human value and dignity, contrasting with systems that reduce people to economic units. It masterfully integrates genuine freedom with complete submission to Allah, true liberation, through aligning with the divine will. It harmonizes formidable power with profound mercy. Strength without compassion is tyranny.
Sovereignty and justice, too.
Yes, it champions true sovereignty alongside unwavering justice. And crucially, it strikes a divine balance. No unrestrained freedom transgressing Sharia's boundaries, but also no oppression curtailing human liberty and dignity. A comprehensive framework for flourishing.
And there's a historical precedent.
A powerful one. This very model enabled an unlettered nation 14 centuries ago to lead the world rapidly. Not by copying others, but because it originated from divine revelation, cultivated its own distinct spirit. It was an innovation, not imitation, drawing essence from an unblemished source.
So how did they achieve that?
The Islamic Ummah surpassed preceding civilizations quickly, guided by the companions and those who followed them. Why? Because they adhered faithfully to the Quran and Sunnah as their complete methodology of life. Their success was a direct result of applying Islamic principles comprehensively: governance, education, economy, relationships. A holistic approach.
Which implies our current state is due to abandoning this.
That's the stark conclusion presented. Our current deplorable state is a direct consequence of abandoning the Quran and Sunnah as a comprehensive guide. State management, schooling, homes, streets, economy, where we deviated from this divine methodology, we found disarray and decline. The correlation seems undeniable.
This leads to a direct message, a call to consciousness for every Muslim.
Yes, a powerful exhortation. O children of the Ummah, suffice it, enough of self-abasement and self-diminishment. The time for internalizing inferiority is over. End the glorifying and polishing of the West's image. Its true face is revealed, and the ignorance of our magnificent heritage, full of achievement, excellence, triumph, and the despising of our own sacred concepts, the bedrock of identity and strength. It's a call for an internal revolution.
And Gaza's fate is reinterpreted, not defeat, but something else.
Exactly. Gaza wasn't defeated. It fundamentally shook our deep-seated illusions. It won a battle for consciousness. Gaza wasn't destroyed. It decisively demolished the idols of Western deification in our minds, those false gods of progress and modernity. Gaza didn't fall. It toppled the idols of the colonized mind, setting us free from intellectual and spiritual bondage. Its steadfastness broke down mental prison walls.
So from this point, a new journey begins.
The sacred journey of intellectual and civilizational liberation, returning to Islam not just as rituals, but as a complete integrated model for all life. Building a project that truly resembles us, expresses our identity, springs from the divine light of revelation, not imported darkness, reasserting authenticity.
And embracing knowledge, science, technology.
Imperative. But harnessing these tools exclusively for serving the faith, elevating the ummah, achieving resurgence, reclaiming our place as innovators, leaders, using every tool to build a future rooted in our principles, serving humanity from a position of strength.
There's also an interesting inversion of perceptions about the conflict itself.
Yes, Israel thought it killed Gaza, crushed its spirit, but its actions breathed new life into Gaza within the Ummah's conscience, galvanizing awareness. The West thought it defamed Islam through propaganda and complicity. Instead, its actions starkly exposed its own ugliness and falsehoods, revealing that Islam is the religion of truth and mercy, while simultaneously unveiling the moral nakedness of those complicit or silent, a moment of profound revelation.
And the conclusion is one of awakening.
A powerful declaration. The Ummah is finally awakening from its prolonged slumber, poised to forge a new history. A history not starting in New York or Paris, but from the sacred lines of the Quran and from beneath the very rubble of Gaza itself. A foundational shift. Recognizing the future is rooted in divine guidance and the sacrifices of the steadfast.
Ending with a direct address to Gaza.
Yes. O Gaza, we do not perceive you as shattered. Rather, we see you as an illuminating beacon, a guiding light, a glad tiding from Allah that the glorious dawn of the Ummah has indeed drawn near. Its steadfastness, suffering faith have become the catalyst for a profound reawakening, potentially redefining the Ummah's trajectory.
This whole reevaluation challenges us, doesn't it? To consider how consciousness shifts, how deeply held assumptions about progress can be overturned.
It certainly does. It prompts reflection on the narratives shaping our world and the forces that can ignite such comprehensive societal and spiritual reawakenings. A powerful shift to observe.